Oh, it's nice to see the mercury rising in here with that with those additional logs just put on. We're getting sweaty.
Yes.
I'm excited to get cold. Thinking cold plunge remedies there. Mm-hmm. How are you remedying others that are getting into sober necessary or understanding how to engage socially when they feel maybe just trapped in that lifestyle?
Yeah. Well, I can talk a little bit about how I came to sauna and cold plunge, which was 3 years into sobriety, and I really didn't have any adult social experiences that I didn't have to work at to like create and be like, you know, reach out to friends and like go out. So what I loved about when I discovered sauna and cold plunge, like as I know it now, was at the Hewing Hotel. And it was 3-hour guided experiences. But the cool thing is you could just go on your own. I didn't have to like, you know, reach out to my friend group. I could just show up. And something about being in conversation, like you can join in if you want, but you can also just sit back and listen. And it provided this like intimate community belonging experience that I think a lot of people, there's a lot of isolation, right? And especially in winter in Minnesota, we go deep. And that to me was like very isolating to not be able to drink and go out. So when I found this, I was like, I bet other sober people or people just, you know, looking for a different experience would love this.
Totally.
So the correlation there to me was just like a light bulb. And that's also why, you know, co-founding Sauna and Sobriety was a direct invitation to say, come here and don't be pressured to drink.
Right. And you offer all of these different NA options for people too. So it's not just a gathering where you're with like-minded individuals. You get a nice little spread of delicious offerings that really ease the burden of not being able to drink, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when people are smoking, they just want that cessation of putting something into their mouth. And same when it comes to just casual conversation where beverages are involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to, you know, really look at what everybody was drinking back in the day. And
for sure.
Now I just hope somebody's got something in their
right.
hands.
If you have like a little sparkly beverage in hand. And that's what I fully like embraced early in sobriety is like if you have something elevated, something special in your hand, people aren't really asking the question.
Right.
And I used to get very angry when I didn't have anything and people constantly would try to buy me drinks or be like, well, you're no fun because you're not drinking. I'd be like, I challenge that because, we know we're fun without alcohol.
You're damn right. And you bring up a point. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just another example of that pain, that little bit of mental pain that can be inflicted when someone asks you what you want to drink or what can I get you, and there's maybe just like a hesitation afterwards if you don't say alcohol. Right. It's just
they don't know what to do with you.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Like I felt very uninvited to all social experiences when I stopped drinking, and this was 12 years ago. And now with the NA products available, I always say, and I would put you in the category of a social curator of experiences, which can be bar, restaurant, could be corporate. But just to say that if you are doing that, then there's no reason you can't have NA options. And you fully embrace that. So I'd love to see that.
Appreciate it. And, you know, I had a conversation with somebody 3 days ago. And I do what I do naturally. I go, hey, can I get you a beer?
Right.
Because I know they enjoy beer.
Yeah.
But this time they were like, you know, I'm not drinking anymore.
Wow.
And, you know, I could sense the like shame behind it, but I met that with encouragement, you know, and it's like, I was like, that's awesome. You know, let's get together and like, I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah. I wish someone would have said that to me in early sobriety, but it was always like, you get like the resistance or the unknown of what does that mean? And people back away from it, but you being able just to step in and like see that. Cause it is hard to say.
It's
when
hard.
You start, even the first year where I had to say that, it was like, oh my gosh, I hate this. I'll just avoid any social experience because I just can't deal.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly I when I asked how's it going, the comment was I really miss the social, the conversation when we're hanging out, And I said, that can still be there, you know?
Yeah.
It's just going to be different.
It's going to be different.
And you just need to focus your mind on other things. And that's where wellness comes into play. Because when you're starting to
100%.
feel better, it's easier to avoid something that will ultimately shed what it's trying to do. And it's hurting you, you know?
And it's hurting you. Yeah. That's what I never wanted to look at. I'm always like, you know, the idea that alcohol is just, you know, it's tied to my identity. It's what I do, part of my life. How could I exist without it? You know?
Yeah.
And you're at the bar trying to answer that question differently. And it just leads back into the cycle of, you know, belonging. And that's what we do in social spaces typically. So
totally.
Good to see that changing.
And it's my goal I want to make everybody feel comfortable. And you know, the more events that we do out here, or the more opportunities where we can make people feel at home, getting you out here. Maybe they're somewhere in the middle of us, right? Maybe they're more towards you, maybe they're more towards me. But what they've recognized is that the traditional behaviors can't persist.
Yeah.
And that's where this NA push right now is so important.
Well, and you're modeling that. So I always say, where are the social spaces that are going to model what it looks like? Because a lot of people are afraid to step into that. Their bar and restaurants are built around the idea that they are a haven where you can go and day drink. Like I think about the sporting things you do here. It's kind of like unwritten if you walk in the door to some of those places that you're going to have several, you know, drinks, and you're going to be sitting at the bar maybe by yourself. You know, so this is setting the tone for people kind of getting into that, like, what does that actually look like? And maybe it's the first time they've ever said, I'm not drinking today. Yeah. Maybe they're doing dry January and we're like, we have some THC, or, you know, whatever that is. It's pretty cool to see that happen. Yeah.
And, you know, you bring up dry January and I used to just despise dry January. But
really?
But now, like, we are fully embracing it. We're launching a bunch of new NA beverages. As I mentioned before, we have more NA available than we do actual beer.
That's amazing.
So,
oh my gosh.
The times have changed from like 2 years ago.
For sure.
I went from despise to, all right, let's make this happen.
Embrace.
Yeah, embrace. Yeah. Embrace. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And that's come along with my own personal journey, though, too. I don't drink as much as I used to.
Yeah, that's the whole story about. And you're creating this for yourself. Like, you don't want to work your business just to serve, you know, and have that be the only means, but you are pairing your journey with it, which is so cool to see.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for fun things that you and I get to do together. Yeah. You were not a part of Spring Park Awakening last year, but you will be this year. And I think there's going to be, you know, a cool speaking engagement component that we can have, for sure. Just spreading wellness in this space and bringing worlds together.
Yeah, and I think it causes people to pause when they're like, wait a minute, a brewery is hosting something that, you know, has NA and leads with that. And I've been looking, like the article on the Thread that you saw and mentioned, 25,000 impressions on my LinkedIn page when I shared it. So I knew I struck a chord, because it's like, the mindful drinking is growing, but those individuals aren't necessarily feeling comfortable asking for NA in different spaces. So you've made that, like, you're living proof. It's like, look at your sales, end of dry January, where are you? And if you're seeing an uptick in that, there's a lot of breweries who are watching very carefully what you're doing, but like to prove that concept out, that there's actually revenue and just the idea of social good and community.
Yeah.
Like, if you can embrace that, it really makes sense. I mean, families come to breweries like on a Saturday, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves on being family friendly. Yeah. Breweries used to get stigma, like, oh my God, there's kids there.
Right.
No, there should be, like, we're a gathering space. Yeah. Not for one to just come and get drunk.
You feel that vibe. I felt that when I came here the first time. I was like, there's something different. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that you can feel that. I'm glad that you can help break down these invisible barriers that exist. It's going to just benefit all.
I know. I can't wait. Yeah.